How are you? Welcome to your fabulous Friday stream over here on Plain Nerd Allies. This is our mythologies. Magnificent mythologies, in fact. And today, our delightful guest is going to be Matt from Dungeon Glitch. Hey,
Hello.
Matt, why don't you tell people where they can find you?
Hey everybody, I'm Matt, Dungeon Glitch on the onlines, primarily on Twitter, but really anywhere you can find Dungeon Glitch on social media. I just maybe a little slow in getting back to a lot of people on a lot of the ones that I don't really use. So yeah, like I went on to Instagram like yesterday, and it was like a whole bunch of people wished me happy birthday. I was like, oh right, I should respond to these too. It's like I just completely forgot it existed.
When was your birthday?
My birthday was Wednesday.
Happy birthday to you too. Apparently this is our delightful birthday stream for everyone.
Yeah.
It's your birthday 2 days ago. It's Lando's birthday tomorrow.
Oh.
Yay.
Happy birthday, Lando.
So hey, everybody, I know, so right now, everybody's wishing Lando happy birthday. Everybody wish Matt a happy birthday too in chat. Yay. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Today, we are going to be talking about some fabulous Native American mythology before we write an actual adventure. So I'm very excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we start out, though, talking about some of our fabulous sponsors. First off, there is Phoenix Dice, who we love because they make all of their dice out of recycled materials. They love the world we live in just as much as the world we play in. And you can win some today if you hit ! Raffle. That's right, you sure can. So, get in that raffle, get you some dice. We're very excited to see it. And D&D Beyond and Hero Forge, we are affiliates with both. If you need fabulous minis, or if you just need every book in the known universe that has to do with D&D, you can jump down to our About section, grab those links, and head over. You might need Strixhaven still. We all need Strixhaven still. Or you might want the new Mordenkainen book, and you can get both digitally at D&D Beyond. Or you might just want some fabulous minis for your table, or 3D representations of them for your streams, and you can get both of those here on Hero Forge. So jump over there. In addition, we've got a fabulous little code right here for Idle Champs of the Forgotten Realms, which is a mobile game where you get to play, what do you think? Champions of the Forgotten Realms, yay! If you like the world of Abel Toro, you can play as any of the heroes that have been written about over the course of the last, 40 years? So, use that code to get an Electrum chest to go play as my favorite character, Jarlaxle, because Jarlaxle has a fabulous hat, and really that's what makes a hero, is a fabulous hat. So, then we have Souls Rolls, who has amazing things. Go head over to soulsrolls.com and you can read all about how to avoid burnout and how to do things like improve your self-care so it actually works for you. In addition, you can sign up for classes with him and sessions with him where he can help you resolve issues in both your life and your business. He is amazing at helping to clarify things. I spent about an hour with him and got clarity on about 2 years worth of shit that I need to do for my business. So, absolutely. There is Realm Warp Media, who just launched their Kickstarter for Menagerie of Magicians. It's very exciting. We love it. It's all these fabulous high-level casters from all over the multiverse. And one of them might turn out to be a Warlock patron. You never know. And finally, we have, last but not least, certainly, Gemmed Firefly. Why don't you tell us a little about Gemmed Firefly there?
Gemmed Firefly is a t-shirt company owned by myself and my partner Kat, and we make goofy, nerdy t-shirts of awesomeness and mugs and flags, and I'm going to be adding a bunch of new stuff soon, all kinds of like random different types of items I want to test out. Yeah, we donate to charities and all kinds of like really cool stuff. And pretty soon I'm going to have some games up on there, I think. So I'm
Ooh,
excited.
look at you. I love it. Are you gonna have some fabulous one-shot adventures up on there soon?
I think so.
That's right. Just so you know, so Dungeon Glitch was here about 2 weeks ago, and well, exactly 2 weeks ago, in fact. And the art is being made currently for your Indonesian adventure with Rongda and Barong.
The art is so good.
I'm
The art
very
is so
excited
good.
about that. So, I think it's going to be super extra delightful. And everybody should head over to Gem Firefly. You can get there just by hitting merch. There's a link right there. Because guess what? Gem Firefly is the official store for Foundation for Inclusivity in Gaming merch. Yay! And if you want to donate to the Foundation for Inclusivity in Gaming, whose job it is to help decolonize the TTRPG space, you can do that right now, if you'd like. Just click on that. And you can get all kinds of fabulous things, like copies of the adventure, and maybe even naming a villain if you got a bunch of scratch to drop to help a bunch of creators of color. There's...
That definitely stands in this adventure. We're gonna do that.
Oh yay! Okay, good.
We're doing that again.
So now from you, what I would like to know is, what the hell are we talking about today?
So today we're going to be talking about the. So it's a legend that I kind of grew up with as. It's funny. I want to go into like stories and stuff, but I can never tell how far back I want to go. So when I was a kid, my grandmother was a teacher of Native American culture and stuff like that. So she would take us on long road trips. I never really know where we went, but it took a long time to get there. My brother and I would just fight in the car, and then we'd end up at this amazing powwow event, and all these tall, handsome Native American people would tell us amazing stories, and the one that they tried to avoid was a super scary ghost story about these giant floating flying heads that ate people. And because they were so reluctant to tell it, it was our favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, there's a lot.
So we're going to be talking about flying, floating head monsters.
Yeah.
Today. Okay. Cool. I'm 100% here for it. I'm not scared at all. I'm trying to think. So, all right. So, I know of at least one D&D monster. I don't know if it's in the current monster manual, but I want to see. Let me just check that out real quick. Because I do love it when D&D, at least so for this stream, I definitely love it when D&D sort of steps in it when it comes to some sort of non-white culture, because then we can talk about everything that's wrong with that thing.
Oh yeah.
So, I want to see if they do not have it in 5e. So there's something in 3.5 called the Vargwheel, which was the flying head with the wings.
Yep.
So maybe we'll see it in the new Mordenkainen's, but for now we don't get to make fun of. We love you, WotC. We do. Thank you for creating a glorious game for us. I mean, really, thank you, TSR, for creating a fabulous game for us and then turning into WotC. But we're just, you know what, we're here to help. We're here to help, to give you a little hand on just a little sensitivity.
Yep.
So
I'm trying to get my energy up because it's been such a week.
Right? No, I feel you.
but,
Okay, Lando,
yeah.
can we get some music with like a beat?
I should have just given you
Because
my fat mix.
this is so mellow. This is so mellow.
Be like, hey, it's your boy Dungeon Glitch back again with the flying head people, and it's like, I'm not.
Right, everyone's like, I need more caffeine. I just need more caffeine. This is either going to be like the most thoughtful adventure we've written so far, or just like a beach day with flying heads. Like, this is going to be the spa day episode with flying head monsters.
No, I'm totally with it. I feel like since we did the first one and it was like serious and it was great, I think we can have a lot of fun on this one. So
right,
and it'll probably outsell the other one. So
yes, Amber, please send the trap album to Lando and we can have the trap album.
Oh yeah, do that. I forgot. Yeah, Amber has it.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. Hey, Matt, do we have permission to play your music on stream today?
You absolutely do.
Okay,
I encourage anyone to use it as long as you just tell people where it came from. So it's really the only reason I made it. It was like, here's a bunch of stuff. Please, it's a lot of fun, especially for like I pop onto random streams and I'll hear it and I'll go, oh, this is cool.
Yay! Yeah, absolutely. So just so that everybody knows, the music that Amber is sending Lando currently, that we will be playing a little bit, is from this tragic asshole that you see in front of you. All right, let's do it. Let's get into this story, because now that it's been withheld from me like it was from the children, I want to know it too.
All right. So, I guess in the spirit of, since we did it last time too, where the slight disclaimer of me being a mixed race individual and somewhat on the outskirts of all of the cultures that I am a result of, that I feel encouraged to be more critical about some of these things and try to pick them apart with almost a art history degree and literary understanding. So when I hear these things, I always try to assume or get to the bottom of, or try to logic my way through, okay, so why did someone really write this? And I'm really starting to see that all the cultures I'm a part of have that kind of Jungian collective unconsciousness of ghost stories and vengeance and fuck around and find out. So
well, I think that there's a big thing that I see just in pretty much every culture, is that up until about 100 years ago, all of the stories were cautionary. Like, the stories were designed to teach you about the world and the dangers of the world in a way that a child would understand.
Yes.
Because that's how they were learning, right? So it essentially was, now we have cartoons to teach them.
Yeah.
Which is a sad statement, I think, on the world, but
yeah. My kid's babysitter was Rick and Morty.
That's right. I can't wait to see what they like, the astonishing science fiction developments that we get because too many kids were left in front of Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Like 10 years from now, every middle school in America is going to be like a scientific powerhouse. It's going to be incredible.
I love it.
Yes.
Rick and Morty is actually kind of dear to me because one of my mentors was the marketing director for them. So shout out Chris. But yeah, they're really cool. They're really cool over there.
Oh my God.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about the Quentin Kragen, the giant floating heads. And when I say giant, I mean they're supposed to be, when they're sitting on the ground, that they are larger than the tallest man. Is how the legend.
So they're like 8 or 9 feet tall.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Gross.
Yeah, they are not attractive. They're not friendly. These are definitely. Now I can't decide if they're demons or undead, which I guess we'll go through it and maybe we'll
Right,
work
let's
it out.
see. Yeah.
I get the feeling we're going to be making a stat block, so that's going to be exciting too.
I love it.
So for my heritage, I am part of the Iroquois nation, the Ganyangahaga Mohawk people, and our version of the flying head monster is similar to the. It comes up in a lot of Eastern New York type, New Jersey type stories. So our version is called the Ganancestantes, and it's really difficult for me to say it because because there's so many, there's like K's and all these things, but the Mohawk language, they turn their K's into G's. So no matter when I read it, I always have to kind of remember that. So the story begins, and it's rather short. It's ultimately, there's a famine. There's all kinds of awful things happening to this one location where a village has situated. There's no food, there's nothing to hunt, the weather is awful. The elders say, we gotta stick this out. We're being tested. The younger men in the tribe say, no, you're making a bad call. You're going to get us all killed. And they turn on the elders and kill them. And then when they're packing everyone up and getting ready to go, the decapitated heads of the elders come to life and start attacking everybody. And as one does, you know. So these giant heads, 8 to 9 feet tall, known for having really long, straggly hair, which protected it. They said that it was immune to arrows and blades. No one knew. Okay. Yeah, no one knew how to kill it, and it was just descending on people and eating them. For our purposes, we could say that if you're not into getting eaten by giant heads, we can say that, you know, it knocks people out or crashes into them or whatever. But I believe that the story is based.
Warning. Trigger warning. Body horror.
Yeah. Body horror, vor, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If you're into it. If you're not, then we will. Yeah.
I feel like in order to, because this is one of the whole points of this stream, is that we are not going to shy away from what's going on in different cultures. We're not going to try to minimize it. We're not going to try to Disneyfy it or anything like that. This is the fucking story. We're going to tell the story, and we're going to create an adventure that reflects the spirit of the story, not an easier to digest version of that, you know. So just trigger warning, body horror, trigger warning, potentially cannibalism.
Yeah, like, we're going to be touching on it. Yeah.
Okay, there is so this is yes, and yes, jams, it did in fact escalate very quickly.
My Boston accent. So yeah, they're being terrorized by this this giant flying head. I've seen various art.
Are there really cool. Question? Yeah. Are there a is there a specific number of them, or are they sort of like a race now?
It's so what there's other stories that are shorter than that. It's like, oh yeah, a giant head comes out of nowhere and punishes people, but it's not really they don't state it as vengeance or anything. It's kind of like, oh, this head is hungry, look out. So I think of it more as like an undead curse that just kind of happens when there's a horrific betrayal or murder of innocent people, that, you know, if someone's beheaded, I guess that was popular. So I honestly I have a different take on it.
Yeah. I have a different sort of instead of just the murder of innocents, It is the abandonment of wisdom and knowledge.
Yeah, that works.
You know, that there is, because I know in my family history, I don't think I actually told this when you were on. Oh no, I told it when Neo Soul got this on. There's this story in our family. So in the last, I think it's 8 generations, 5 of my direct ancestors were essentially like the war chiefs for the Cherokee tribe. There's which other tribes might call a shaman or something like that. It was always like you had the chief, and then their brother or some sort of sibling was their war counselor. And so during the time of the Civil War, and this is crazy because like in my family, the Civil War is only, I think, 4 generations back, five generations back. There is, because nobody in my family has babies before they're like 40. So but essentially the way the story goes is during the Civil War, the Cherokee, the war started encroaching on Cherokee territory in Oklahoma. And the younger tribesmen said, we have to join the war. We have to be a part of this. And the elders were like, nope, this is not our war. This is absolutely not our war. This makes no sense at all. You would kill your brother so that you could own another person. Like, this is insanity. So we will not participate in this it was the first time, not the first time, but I'm sure one of many times that they were like, just like, this is white people nonsense. And there's, and the young men kept going and going and going and being like, nope, we're going to join. And finally, the elders relented and they were like, okay, if we're going to join, we are going to join on the side of the North because they are trying to free people. And the young people at that point, the South looked like they were winning. And so they said, nope, we're going to join on the side of the South so that we don't get destroyed because we will get murdered otherwise. And the elders were like, but my ancestor just looked at all of them apparently and said, I will never say I told you so, because by the time it is that late in the game, it is way too late for that. And the only thing that would be serving is my personal ego. And there will be no point at that point. So I will simply tell you, you should listen to me. And I will let it go at that. Then you will do what you're going to do. And it is something in my family now, like nobody ever says, I told you so, because it's pointless. But it's also, you know, there is such an enormous amount of wisdom in people who have lived through these things that, and I think this is where the disconnect comes, is that young people are having all kinds of experiences. A lot of times, old people have had those experiences too. Like they've already been through it, and they haven't just been through the experience, they've been through the fallout of that experience, and they know what that's like too, you know. And there are absolutely new experiences that are happening, and it's always going to be a source of contention between the generations. But, you know, I can tell you that if I am talking to somebody who is 20, you know, at this point, I've been through things that you literally cannot imagine at this point. And I'm not joking. Like, I could not have imagined them when I was 20 years old. Literally, they were out of the realm of possibility, you know? But it just happens that I've been through these things. So I have a great store of wisdom about certain things. I know what's going on, and I watch my friends go through these things. You know, like one of the big things is like the AIDS crisis. You know, it's something that most people at this point are never going to go through. You know, like it is something. It was a pandemic, but it was very different in that it was literally targeting like one type of person, you know, like there is, so it was, so there are things that people have been through, and when you throw away that wisdom, when you deny that there is that store of knowledge and wisdom, it diminishes the world. It diminishes the whole world. And it dooms everybody to keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again, because people just don't want to learn anything from somebody that's got gray in their hair. So, so that's what my take is on it. But whatever is your take as well, I'm happy to go there. So,
no, it's good. It's definitely valuable to have as many perspectives on these things, because it's like, the more I look back on a lot of these cultural stories, and you see how kind of like short they are, there's no context behind them, and sometimes a lot of it's just kind of like lost. It's like, who wrote this story to begin with? A lot, it's just gone. No one knows. It's just passed down repeatedly, and you don't know how many times it's changed or anything like that. So, so with this one, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at all the pieces, and like famine keeps coming up, and loyalty is one of the things. And so, yeah, if the wisdom is to ride out hard times, not give up an area, keep those things, that's definitely a certain wisdom that they know, like, perhaps we've survived rough times, maybe something worse than this.
Yeah.
For this story to come out, I think the younger men in the tribe turned on the elders, killed them, and then someone had to come up with the story of being like, hey, there was a famine and somebody ate these people. I'm not going to say who. It's probably a giant head. So,
oh my God. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so it's like, yeah, so always be loyal to the older people who tell you stories, or you could be eaten by them. Like, oh, all right. Okay, then.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can totally see that. Oh my God. Accidental cannibalism, you know.
So,
yeah. No, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So now tell me a little more about these heads.
So there's different versions of them. There's some that is just, it's just a floating head, almost like a beholder, and it just goes around scooping people up in just Wendigo style, eating them. There's a lot of cannibalism in Native American lore, even though it's taboo in general. Like, it's like, absolutely never do this. This is awful. Don't do it. But you keep hearing the legends about it, and it's different stories. So
yeah,
there's another version
well,
of
it's
it.
always, I feel like in a lot of traditions, it's sort of like modern day Nazis. Yeah. Like, if you need a go-to bad guy that you don't need a lot of backstory for, you know, like, you don't need to develop this character at all. You just know that they're evil because they're a Nazi. That's what people used to use. It's like, oh no, you know they're evil because, you know, they're a cannibal.
There's a witch and she eats people. That guy's a demon, he eats people.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's the thing. Hey, Amber, say hi to Sam for me. Yes, there is. So absolutely, no, I absolutely see. It's a very easy way to just transmit the thought. Okay, I'm trying to keep this story simple, and essentially because it used to be the stories were there for children to learn. You know, like, that's how you taught everybody. So you have to be able to have here's the bad thing, here's the good thing.
Exactly. Listen to your elders, don't run off into the darkness, be good, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think about so many traditions of, like, storytelling where, like, there was a point to the story at the time.
Yeah.
You know, Like I look at like Jewish traditions where it's like don't eat pork. And it's very specifically because they could not, or shellfish. And it's because they didn't have refrigerators. They could not keep this fresh for long. So if you ate that, there was a very high likelihood that you would get like trichinosis, or you get some crazy ass disease from shrimp. Like it was a way to keep you safe. So we'll just say that this is a no-no for everyone. That way nobody dies because they ate the wrong pork pie.
On the other hand, you got things like Lent, and it's like, hey, don't eat meat because we're rich and we're the church and we want all the meat, so you can't have it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. One of the things that I find really interesting about that whole thing just has to do, and we're so off topic right now, and I'm totally here for it, is the whole concept that there is, if you actually look at evolutionarily why we developed the big brain that we did, it's because we ate so much meat.
Yeah.
Like it was that protein intake that allowed our brains to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it is literally a function of controlling the populace at this point, like where it's like for like hundreds and hundreds of years, it was just, nope, you can't have that. Nope, you get a turnip. You can have a fucking turnip. Yes. So, all right. So we've got giant heads flying around.
Exacting revenge.
People. Yeah, absolutely.
But indiscriminately. It's like, oh, well, you all fucked up. So here comes this giant zombie or demonic head. And so there's the main version that looks like a beholder. It's got this, but it's got like this awesome black mane of Native American hair. So
it's a thing.
And then there's a version of it that has like bat wings that come off it, like demon wings, and it's got claws at the bottom of it. So it's got like it's this giant head with like little I guess feet under its jaw, and it just kind of So it's not the most attractive, but it's supposed to be horrific. So mission accomplished.
Did you say like little feet?
like little bird talons, just kind of like attached to like right underneath the jaw, because it's just a head. So anatomy, and it's so hungry even though it doesn't have a stomach. So I'm with it. But we're
oh my god! All right.
I still think it's fantastic. It's been one of my favorite stories growing up.
Absolutely. So I need to. For me, in order to get the motivation of this beast, this monster down, first thing I'm gonna need to know is, where does the food go? When they eat someone, where are they transported? Are they inside the head, or?
I can only assume they are finally digested somewhere within the confines of the skull. I have no idea. The story ends where I basically told you, with the exception of one addendum that says how to kill it.
Ooh, I need to know that.
So apparently, these heads, while some are mindless eating killing machines, there are some versions where they are intelligent, and there's one that terrorizes women and children specifically, and is hanging out at a cabin where a woman is roasting acorns, and so they're all like hot and red and delicious. So she eats them, and there's two versions of this. She eats the acorns, and the head assumes that it's eating that the woman is eating smaller heads, and finds this disturbing and leaves, which is ironic. So then there's another version where the head sees this and sees that the woman, it thinks that the woman is eating red hot coals.
Okay.
And from this, there's a different offshoot where she goes, okay, this woman is eating fire. I'm not going to mess with that. I'm out of here. And there's another version where the demon tries to get one of the acorns, but instead gets a red hot coal, eats it, and dies. So they can't eat fire. If they eat fire, they die.
All right. Okay. Um, there's definitely a couple of things that we could absolutely do with that. I think there's a lot that. Okay, so there's a lot there. I love it. All right, let's pop over to our fabulous little, just super basic outline right now, which we're going to fill in and turn into an amazing story.
Yeah.
So let's start with, in this case, I think because we do have a big bad, why don't we start with something in chapter 3 that allows us to know how it's going to be defeated.
I kind of want to also add a little bit of my own style to this
Absolutely.
one.
No,
So,
get the fuck out of here.
So I want there to be a tiny chance that the party could team up with the head or find a way to use it.
Ooh.
It's going to seem like it's going to obviously be a problem, but somewhere in there,
Well,
I think if
in
they...
that situation, let's start with Act 1 then.
Okay.
Thank you for the sub, Amber, and thank you for continuing your sub, Cassie. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. There's super excited about that. Thank you everybody in general for all the support that you've been giving to this stream and to Fig in general. It's really been amazing. So let's start in chapter 1. I think if you want those two options, I've got an idea about sort of the general sort of motivation of these heads, right? I think there can be that it's not that there are two versions of the head, but that there are two, that it's one type of head, and in one situation they are the mindless creatures because they're similar to sort of zombies. But what happens is that as they consume people, they convert that into brain material for their giant head, and they become more intelligent. And so initially they're mindless, but eventually, once they've gotten that, they can in fact be reasoned with. And I think that would tie into the whole wisdom of the elders thing, because you could absolutely have a situation where it's like, you abandoned all of this wisdom and knowledge, you destroyed it. And so they became mindless, hunting down the people that hurt them. But in consuming these people, they are regaining the wisdom that they had before and can become something different. So I don't know how that's going to look yet. We'll figure it out over the course of the next 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. Oh my gosh. And oh my God, are we about to start a hype train? That's hilarious. Yes, thank you, Cassie, for another sub. That is delightful.
There's wonderful people in chat.
Oh yeah, it's glorious. There's okay, so let's begin. So do we want to begin? Okay, so now here's the question. Do we want the adventurers to be responsible for the creation of these things? Or do we want them to come upon the destruction that happened and then face one?
So the way I kind of envision it is so that they're not directly at the ire of this thing. Mm-hmm. Perhaps they've been conscripted or recruited or asked to help out a small village that is suffering through famine, weather damage, refugees, that kind of thing.
All right, let's
so like maybe they're hired to do it or they come across it.
All right, so let's start that with the intro. So
now Hive train.
The adventurers, the adventurers, because spelling is important. The adventurers have been recruited to help a village in the midst of a crisis. Over the last several years, because I always like to amp up the need and the tension. Over the last several years, several villages in this small nation have been destroyed by the years-long drought and
Hardships. Yep.
resultant famine. This is the last village in the region.
Mark just rode through with 5 subs.
Oh my God. Well, that's a thank you so much. Yes, Die. That's incredible. Oh. Make me happy.
You remember Mark when we were playing Gut Punch? He's the one with the abs.
Those beautiful, beautiful abs, Mark. Just amazing. There's I need to get him at my table. Mark, I need to get you at my table. There's I think that will be absolutely delightful. I need to get you back at my table too, Matt. Like apparently I just need to be running like 7 campaigns at a time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
There's yes. So well, that's amazing. I love that we just jumped from 0 to 3 on the hype train scale. We're just no, thank you. No, thank you for a slow start. Screw you, no. Absolutely. So yes, hey everybody. There's also a raffle. I just see that Dark Happiness joined our raffle. If you want some Phoenix Dice, jump in that raffle. And if you want to help support Plain Nerd Allies and the Foundation for Inclusivity in Gaming, thank you for the subs and the bits. And I'm going to throw up the donate button there so that you can donate directly to the foundation. Yay! We love it. So, let's get back to, all right, so this is the last village in the region to
last standing
retain their food stores, but those granaries are almost empty now. So let's look at this. So let's look at some adventure hooks. So first off, what are the adventurers being asked to do?
So we could say that they were delivering a food shipment, or they were asked to protect refugees on their way out, or to help
also
with
since this is a 5e compatible adventure, I think we can also have them performing a ritual to bring rain.
Sure. Yep.
You know, ritual to bring rain, protecting refugees entering, leaving town. I think that's good. All right, cool.
I got one more style request I want to add to this.
Ooh, absolutely.
And when I do one shots or significant sessions, I try to make sure that each player can find a moment in the spotlight. So it might be like uh, a skill challenge here, a quick one-on-one here, or something like that.
Absolutely.
But also that some players will also have decisions that affect NPCs.
Oh, fabulous. Fabulous. And thank you, Cassie. Thank you, Amber, for the bits. Yay! All right, fabulous. All right, so we now know why they're there. Where in the crisis are these people?
I think to move things along, I want to say they were hired by the younger councilman people, and the elders have already been killed.
Okay. All right. So
no one knows that.
So can we have Act 1 be a mystery?
Yeah, definitely.
Finding
I think it's all
the
gonna be a
elders.
mystery. Yeah.
Okay. I think that there's okay. So the whole thing, so what we're writing right now is a mystery to find out what's going on, and Act 3 would be discovering the dead elders then. Is that what we're aiming at?
Yeah,
Because that could be super
now that I'm
delightful.
kind of putting these pieces together, it's like you get them there. They have different options to help people, but the mystery is that the person who hired them is untrustworthy. They need to the person who hired them is the murderer, and this head is going to appear in Act 2. They might hear about it in Act 1. It shows up in Act 2. They don't know what's going on with it. They learn about it probably in the climax and can decide how to go. Maybe they can find a way to influence it, or maybe they have to fight it in Act 3, and then hopefully save a bunch of people or run. So.
Okay, so all right, so let's put down. All right, so in Chapter 1, arrive in town with. Arrive in town, and depending on which adventure hook they choose, there might be several things. Arrive in town. Arrive in town, and the head has just left. So they don't see the head, but the head has eaten somebody. And what I'd like to do is that the head keeps trying to get to the murderer, and the murderer keeps throwing other people into its way because it's willing to murder its elders. So it's also willing to all right, so that will also set it up so that it will sort of, when it's in attack mode, it will just get at whoever is the closest. And that way, if people want to, they can make something like a dummy out of rocks or something like that, and then cast heat metal on it and kill it, like something like that,
Yep.
All right, so arrive in town in the aftermath of a horrific killing. A giant flying head with bird talons because why not make it as gross as possible?
Wrinkly skin, deep set eyes, just going nuts.
A gross giant flying head with bird talons has eaten one of the townsfolk. It's eaten one of the townsfolk and flown away. DM's note, the flying head is this monster, and we're gonna do stat block. The first victim was
We can say
Not
it's someone that
intended.
the job that they're replacing, maybe, or a new job that came up. Hey, we need someone to watch this caravan because the caravan master.
So I love that, but can we add an extra emotional layer to it,
Sure.
where it is like the significant other of the murderer? Because that would be the person that would be closest at hand, probably,
Done.
to sacrifice to these heads, and that way they can say, my wife has just been murdered, my partner's just been murdered, you've got to help me. Adding more validity to their story. The victim was the spouse of the target. Okay, fabulous.
So if one casts Detect Evil, does this place light up like a Christmas tree?
If somebody casts Detect Evil, because Detect Evil doesn't, let me look up that spell real quick. I want to see the exact rules for that. Detect Evil. Detect Evil and Good.
I just had a childhood memory of all the times I've drawn this thing, but like hanging out with my brother, I always put like a lobster bib on it.
Yeah.
That just made us laugh.
Okay, so it would not. So what it will for 10 minutes, if there's an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead within 30 feet of you, as well as where the creature is located. Similarly, if there is a place or object within 30 feet that has been magically consecrated or desecrated. So it could very well be that, the elders most likely would have been meeting in, a centralized location that would probably also be used as a ritual center.
Yes.
As is typical for most Native American cultures.
A longhouse in this case.
Okay, fabulous. So it would have been the longhouse. So if they cast Detect Good and Evil, what they'll get is good and evil, because it's a consecrated space that's also been desecrated recently. So they'll be absolutely. Let's see. All right, this is going to be another part of the DM's note.
A lot of DM notes in this one.
Right, DM. Well, that's going to be true of any mystery. Like the DM's going to need to know what's going on with the mystery, so that he doesn't let the players know. DM's note: if anyone casts Detect Good and Evil, I think one of the art pieces in this is going to actually have to be a map. Okay. A map of the city, so that the DM can literally have like a map of, here's the longhouse, here is where the murder took place, here's where the sighting is, here's this clue, here's that clue, all that kind of stuff in there.
Perfect.
If anyone casts Detect Good and Evil, the only place to light up will be the longhouse, but as it was the site of a gruesome slaughter recently, it will show as both consecrated and desecrated. Confusing. This spell. All right, fabulous. Okay, so we arrive in town. We've got a and I would just like to thank everybody for the level 3 hype train. That is amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are super fabulous. There is we are for anybody who is new to these streams, please feel free to throw out fabulous ideas into the stream. Let us know, like, if there are some really cool ideas that you have. We may or may not incorporate them, but we always love hearing from everybody out there. So let's see, the only place light up. All right, fabulous. And all right, cool. So they show up right after somebody's been attacked, and this thing has disappeared. So as this is a mystery, I think for this one we should have like maybe I always like to have a bunch of different places where you can gather the right clues.
Yep.
So that regardless of where you go, you're going to get the information you need. So why don't we start with let's do so as you enter the town, you are, before anything can happen, the party is approached by, what's this person's name?
He's the big bad, so if anyone wants to donate $100, they can name him. But
by BBEG.
Yep.
That's what we'll call him for now.
Yeah.
BBEG, we will rename him later. Or her, them.
Yeah.
Before anything can happen, the party is approached by BBEG. They attempt to convince the players that they must help track and defeat this flying monster. All right, so we've got that. Then we'll do a DM's note. If the party gets a high enough insight check, they know that the BBEG is holding something back. But they don't know what. That is something for me as a DM, it is such a pet peeve for me, is when like people do an insight bonus and they're like, oh, it makes me psychic. I'm like, it doesn't. Like you can't like dig out the secrets of the universe from this person's face. You can see how they're feeling about something, essentially, whether they're lying, whether they're not, if they're holding something back, but not like what they're holding back. Like occasionally as a DM, I'll be like, they suddenly, as you notice that their eyes keep darting over to something to your left or something like that, you know? But yeah, it's like, well, I got a 23 on my insight check, so shouldn't I know what they're thinking?
Shouldn't I know exactly what's happening? And I just imagine them doing like the Larry David kind of.
Right.
It's like, oh yes, no, you're a murderer and the body's over there and it happened 20 minutes ago and here's the weapon. I got a 24. Yeah. Here we go.
It absolutely turns into a Robot Chicken little special. Oh my god. Yeah. There is okay. All right, here we go.
How much detail do we want to get into of for some of these notes? Because they could also notice that like some of the refugee packages and stuff like that are so haphazardly strung together, like they decided to leave like today. Because unless we want to make sure that the adventure hook is only that they were delivering a shipment of food, then there's no guarantee that that's going to be there, and it would shatter the lore if there's no food left, but there's a whole bunch of boxes of food. Well, it doesn't have to be food. It could just be like everyone is getting all their things and leaving, because
I see.
The elders didn't want them to leave. So now that the elders are dead, you see everyone just going, hey guys, pack up the U-Haul. We're taking off today. Okay,
so also they probably know that a bunch of people just got murdered.
Yeah.
You know, so and there's now a monster. Right. So I'd like it to be, I think in order for this to hold together as a mystery, I think we're gonna have it happen after everybody has already left. All the people that are gonna leave have left, and the people that are still around are loyal enough to the person in charge. They're not just going to immediately start screaming about the fact that they murdered someone or they murdered a bunch of people, you know. So there's all right, let's see. All right, so we've got, I think in that situation, so now we need to answer the question, were all these murders done in private or in public? Did they scare the crap out of people so that no one will talk, or does no one know?
I think no one should know.
Okay.
I think if it's private, then people will be like, hey, yeah, great. And then this guy can be like, hey, I'm speaking on behalf of, or.
Okay. If they, all right, so let's figure out what actually happened, and then we can build the mystery around that. So I feel like if he was like the representative of the younger people in the tribe, he could have gone in to the longhouse to speak on behalf of the tribe alone with the elders.
Yep.
He then murders the elders while he's in there. Immediately, these big heads suddenly appear, and I think we can have. I'd like to make a specific number of them, so that in Act 1 it seems like there's just the one. And so when you defeat the one, you think it's done, and then suddenly like 3 more appear. There's so let's say there's 4 elders in the tribe, and they do. So he kills them. Then immediately 4 of these heads come up as a curse, and 3 of them go out one way, go out like the back of the longhouse, and one of them starts going after this guy and chases him through the front door, and then he can claim that this monster killed all the elders.
Done. That works.
All right, so you know that we were just holding something back, they don't know what, but the BBEG is obviously and truthfully scared for their life. Let's see. BBEG tells the adventurers about the story tells the adventurers that the elders were killed by this monster. And when BBEG ran out of the longhouse, that their partner was the next victim, when in fact this person had thrown his partner into the jaws of this monster in order to escape. So yeah. DMs, yeah, if we're gonna get gritty and gross, this is gonna be horror themed. We're gonna do the horror. Horror.
Horror.
DM's note. Horror. I just cannot. Yes. Okay. Cool. We're doing the things. We're doing the fun things. Okay. So DM's note. BBEG actually used their partner as a human shield and sacrificed them so that BBEG could escape. All right, so there's that. All right, so that's how it starts. Is there's been a gruesome murder, a monster, everyone. I think at this point, like in order to add to like the chaos of it, at this point, everyone's packing their shit right now instead of having already left. Like everyone, this just happened like 20 minutes ago, and everyone's
You
running
just missed
around.
it.
Yeah, it's just oh my god, oh my god. There's I feel like that'll help.
Yep, get that energy right up.
Yep, absolutely. So arrive in town in the aftermath of horrific killing. The entire town is in an uproar and packing their possessions to flee. All right. All right, so important people. We're going to start with BBEG, initial contact, and also horrific murderer. I would like to have a single old man left who wasn't on the council, but is just a nice old guy or nice old lady, no special powers or anything like that, just fabulous person that, has taught that everybody has a story. Everybody in town has a story about how this person helped teach them something, like how to cook or how to fish or how to farm or how, they literally, just because they had so much experience, they'd done everything at some point in their life. And they had helped everyone raise their children, and they'd helped everybody learn their trades, so it doesn't matter who you talk to, they all know that this is the person. And the reason I want that there is because either the heads will refuse to attack this person, or it becomes incredibly sad when this person dies. So one of the two. I don't know which direction this story is going to head yet, but one of those two.
If they can gain knowledge of how things work from this person, then we definitely have to kill him. So, yeah, I think it's saves the cat. I think it's a Dan Snyder's book. This character, the trope is called the half man. And they serve the purpose in a movie or a story to explain the rules of a horror movie, and then they are immediately killed.
Immediately murdered. Yeah.
Yep.
Good. All right, fabulous old person. I think, it could be that this is what summons the head back. Is that the BBEG is now threatening this person who's the last old person in town.
Yeah.
And this is and suddenly the heads come back, and then they throw this, they sacrifice this person. And there is again. So, all right. So we've got the fabulous old person. All right.
Perfect.
So we've started. They attempt to convince the players that they're going to help track down and defeat the monster, which hopefully the players will do, decide that this is something they want to participate in. So in a mystery story, in Act 1, they need to collect the clues, right? They need to find out, they need to set up who the players are going to be moving forward so that all the foreshadowing can happen, so that when they get to the payoff, it's a real payoff and not just out of the blue. On the third to last page of the book, somebody shows up with the new thing that solves the mystery, So let's see. And then in chapter 2 is when they actually start solving the mystery, right? And then chapter 3 can be the final fight. Yep. And so let's jump over to chapter 2. And what are the clues for this mystery going to be?
right, so we have we have the murder location. We can
Okay,
also
so
say
let's
that.
put.
Yep. So the
So let's see.
the murder scene,
Oops.
crime scene, whatever.
So crime scene is the longhouse. So that is one location. For this. Oh, so the next thing that you're going to need to know in order to solve this mystery is the murder weapon.
Yep.
What did they use to kill all the old people? Sentences you never really thought you'd say. What they used to kill all the old people.
We could make it a. I feel like fancy knife is a little too hack, but maybe something. Let's say a spear.
Okay.
I'm also wondering, like, if this guy did go in and do this murder, why isn't he covered in blood? Spear might offer some distance, but also he might have done a costume change, and people might not recognize him as much.
So I think that gives us two other locations then. We've got the location of the murder weapon, and we have location of the old clothes, right? So I think it would make sense if, like, the murder weapon, the murder weapon can be sort of like over, like near the outskirts of town or something, because he also used it to try to fight off this creature.
Sure.
Right. What you can see is that there's
teeth marks on it or something.
There's like teeth marks, but there's also, and in that situation, it can be that, like, they very specifically talk about the fact that this thing doesn't bleed.
Yeah.
But there's blood on the spear.
Perfect.
Okay, so location of the murder weapon.
Yep. He can even say that these creatures, their hides can't be pierced.
Skirts of town. The spear has teeth marks on it. The spear has blood on it. DM's note: creatures, flying heads don't bleed. Flying heads don't bleed. All right. So the blood is the. Now I'm just moving straight into Final Fantasy. It's the blood of the elders.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
The ancients.
The ancients. Oh, I cannot wait till the next installment of Final Fantasy VII Remake comes out, because I feel like they did such a fabulous job on that.
Yeah.
Such a fabulous job. And I love how the entire thing, the entire first video game, what is it like? If you just play it straight through, it's like 40 or 50 hours worth of gameplay. If you do all the side missions and shit, it's over 100 hours.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was just a way for them to say, this is going to be different than the original. Like, the whole thing. Literally, the whole thing was just, we are literally fighting against our own fates. We're shattering fate. And now, who knows what's going to happen in the fabulous open world of this new thing. So, I 100% props to them for taking the time necessary to make a fabulous game and taking the time to make a fabulous second game, and not, if they drop this game and it's like, like Cyberpunk swinging dicks, it's just like it's gonna destroy the Final Fantasy franchise.
Yeah.
Like, it's a no. Anyway,
my wife hadn't played the first one, the original, and she just
'cause
jumped
she's a
right into
monster.
jumped into the other one. She's like, well, those graphics aren't great. I'm like, okay, we have to talk about that, but also play this. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
well, this one's really pretty. It's like, she's like, who's that? She likes Cloud. It's like, you're not wrong. All right, just play it.
Everybody, yeah, no, everybody loves Cloud. Like, I was one of the few people that I knew that was like Cloud doesn't do it for me. Like the fucking brooding. Like, Cloud is the original edgelord.
Yeah, he's like Hamlet, just like walking around. Yeah.
Well, just everything sucks, man.
I don't want to
I
do
hate
nothing.
it.
I don't want to be. I'm soldier, kinda. That's what I do.
Yeah. I sit
Okay.
in the back of the bar and talk about how tragic my backstory is.
The world's
Oh my
dying. I
God.
don't care.
No one cares. I was like the there's I mean, I absolutely understand having a crush on a cartoon character. I get it. I just like what a weird conversation. There was nobody in that game. And I don't think there was anybody in the new game either that I was just like, ooh.
Just because they haven't
you're
released
pretty.
Vincent yet.
I mean,
Everyone's
you're
waiting
not
for
wrong.
Vincent.
But I mean, honestly, Sid is a bit more my style.
Sid is the coolest of the characters. I know everyone. It's just Sid's got the most complex story. His thing, they just gave him so many flashbacks, and it's just this poor man and his regrets.
I'm like, I am there. I am there. I fly around all day long.
Goes into
fly around the
space.
world,
Yeah.
do the things. He knows how to drink bourbon.
Oh yeah.
You know. I like, that's my guy.
Colorful language. Amazing. It's the first time I'd ever seen swears in a PlayStation game.
Ah!
And he just wouldn't stop. It was just
No, it was fabulous. I loved it. Yes. So what's clothes. I'm gonna say that's gonna be in the Big Bad's house.
Yeah, sure.
So Big B, so let's see. Oh, keep screwing up this outline.
Immediately incriminating.
Yeah, location of the bloody clothes. Well, no, that is a very good point. It would be immediately incriminating. So let's. Where would those go? Where would he change?
I mean, we can give. It'd have to be fast, because in 20 minutes so far he's been on the outskirts of town to fight, and then so maybe
No. So he wasn't. So he had the spear in his hand, used it to attack this creature. The creature flew off with the spear.
Oh, sure. Done.
Yeah. So that's why the spear is found outside of town, and then he runs over to his house.
Yeah, cleans up,
Grabs,
and immediately meets them.
We can say, all right, so BBEG house looks ransacked because he went in and like just started ripping drawers out and stuff like that, grabbing clothes, you know, trying to find something that would work. And then, oh, it could be in the shed. The clothes, he could have thrown the clothes in the shed.
Yeah, work.
But all right, so so we've got art. We're gonna need, so there's the cover, and then inside, map. Longhouse and BBEG house are right next to each other with a shed in between. And so he runs to his house, grabs the clothes, like ransacks the house, looks ransacked, DM note, ransacked by BBEG while trying to find non-bloody clothes. Location of the bloody clothes is going to be shed between Longhouse and BBEG house. Thrown there hastily. There we go. All right, fabulous. So we've got that. All right, cool. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Thank you for the follow, Valexion. There's and chat. I want to make it very clear. Lulu forever, yes. Best outfit ever in a Final Fantasy game. 100%. She wins. She wins that hands down. Also, Final Fantasy X, probably the best story arc has ever been written in a Final Fantasy game. The fact that this is literally a dream, and that as soon as you kill Sin, you kill the main character, you kill the big bad, you kill the main character. Absolutely, I am here for this. I am here for that kind of horror. Like that existential just horror show. Let's see, all right, so we've got the crime scene, the location of the murder weapon, the location of the bloody clothes, and the house that has been ransacked. We're going to need to add, I'm going to call them Fab, the fabulous old person.
Yes.
Fab, saw the BBEG run out of the longhouse with the spear, tells party where to find the spear, so that if they're talking to people, there are people that actually saw that. Let me see, is that enough stuff, do you think? The crime scene, the murder weapon, the clothes, the BBG's house is ransacked, and the fabulous old person.
So to incriminate the villain, yes. But just because he's evil doesn't solve the problem. So I guess they'll also need to figure that part out as part of the mystery. So understanding where the heads come from and why, and how to either sate or destroy is the other half of the mystery. So they'll need more.
All right. That. So
I'm just thinking now of other chaos. I'm thinking of random too, because if the party's there to help with like the ritual's no longer important at all. Yeah. So they have to drop that. And someone mentioned if they were there to escort a cleric of a thing, I think that cleric should be killed to also show that it doesn't matter anymore. The entire story has changed. You have a whole new problem, and you are in the middle.
Absolutely. Of it. I love that. I love that. So now my question is going to be: is this two mysteries instead of one, where they think that the mystery is finding, finding the big bad, who turns out to be this person, but that doesn't actually solve the problem.
Yeah.
There's then having to figure out how to defeat them.
So they have this villain, but the villain isn't the problem. The heads are the problem. And it's so I guess part of it is understanding the state of things before the murder, understanding that they were supposed to come there,
Okay,
fix things.
so what that means is that Act 1 needs to be figuring out what the monster is. And then Act 2 is they think that what they're doing is they are going after trying to figure out how to defeat the monster, but the clues that they keep finding are showing them that this isn't a random monster, that somebody did this thing. Okay, fabulous, good. All right, cool. Got that. All right, so what that means is, so they've been approached by the BBEG. They arrive in town, they've been approached by the BBEG. The next part in Act 1 is going to be discovering what the monster is. So how do they go about doing that? So the BBG obviously will be misdirecting them because they don't want them to investigate like the murder scene and stuff like that. Right. So if the story is that this monster came out of nowhere and murdered all the old people, then we could absolutely set it up so that some people in town saw the three heads moving. Nope, because we want to keep that as a surprise, don't we?
Yeah.
There's we could just have the BBEG say that like they came in from the back of the longhouse.
So
and then behind.
I guess it would be when they if they are able to stop or witness the first one, they see that it is the head of an elder, and then when they are confronted by the other three, oh yeah, there was 4 elders. So like, oh yeah, that's information you could have given us sooner.
Well, so in that situation, all right, so then we get introduced to the fabulous old person in Act 1. Fab, because they saw the head come out. Fab saw the head come out and said that it looked like the head of one of the elders. Okay, so we've got that. And then it flies off in like, I sort of envision that this town, the reason that it was sort of safe from this drought that's been affecting everything else is because it's in like a forest clearing. So unlike the sort of plains and stuff like that, there's enough, they would be safe from it, so that there would be a reason why they would not be nearly as affected as the rest of the area. Yeah. Okay, so all right. So let's see. So crime scene is in the longhouse. The heads of all of the elders have been removed. And okay, so looks like the head of one of the elders. And all right. So I feel like in Act 1, in order to determine some of its weaknesses, we're going to have a fight with it.
Yeah.
So they have the conversation, and like after they do a little investigation, then it comes back. And they can fight it. They realize that it is, I feel like this should be an adventure for like maybe 3rd to 5th level characters, because at that point you probably don't have magic weapons.
Yeah.
So we could say that the reason that it can't be harmed is because it is immune to damage from non-magical weapons. But apparently it does have a vulnerability to fire. Fab saw the head come out, said it looked like one of the heads of the elders. Also mentions the spear. All right. Okay, so this is one of the things about mysteries. Like when you're writing a mystery, it is like you have to jump everywhere to figure out, okay, does this still work? Are we all right? Are we still building
Here's the
this
fact,
properly?
here's the seed, here's the foreshadow. Yep.
All right, so let's see. There is, there is. All right, so what else do we need? Is just the fight going to be, do we want in the fight for the weakness to be revealed as like, it could absolutely be that like, you know, somebody during the fight, like one of the houses catches on fire and like a burning timber like hits it or something like that, and it shies away from that. Like while it's not shying away from any weapons or anything like that, suddenly it gets smacked by that, so that regardless of what the players do, they'll learn that little bit of knowledge.
Yeah, I think that we could do something like that.
Is there a better way to do that?
I'm trying to think of I'm trying to keep the timeline in mind, but also that I like to still give players like the opportunity to command like an NPC that'll have some kind of influence, if not immediately, then at some point. So they can give someone like orders, and it comes to fruition later. I just like giving players some additional say in what happens in the story that they don't have to do.
What if the old person knows that this particular elder, the head that's attacking, was afraid of fire, and that's why it's vulnerable to fire? Like that it was in a fire and it's used as something, there's a scar on its face.
I was thinking the same thing, yeah. It also has to work for all of them though too, but
does it?
Doesn't it?
I mean, because you told me that like the story about the fire and the rocks is just one head, and that others were just like mindless and nothing worked, and you know, things like that. So it could very well be that like there's only 4 of these in the whole world, and they have different vulnerabilities, you know.
That works. Yeah, that works. We can do that.
That's fine. All right, mentions the spear. All right, so
this would be like the leader of the council, the main elder, and he's a little more intelligent. The other ones can just be the mindless attacking ones. So maybe as this continues to go, they might find out that more people are disappearing, but they don't know like from where. And even though like just so these heads are like active, like they're doing stuff. And it puts a ticking clock.
It could be as refugees are trying to escape and leave the town, suddenly, you know, like the first act happens very quickly. It happens within like an hour of them getting to town, right?
Yeah.
It's the council just got murdered. Everyone's packing their shit. You know, they go talk to like maybe 1 or 2 people, and suddenly there's a giant head attacking, and they learn that this one has a vulnerability to fire. And that's act 1. Then act 2 is as they are investigating, people are trying to run out of town. And as they do, you hear like these screams, and you see like a head eating someone as soon as they step outside the boundary of this village. You know, that like they'll just swoop in out of the forest, just literally eat someone, and then run off. And so everyone is now corralled inside the town, which also helps because then they can talk to everybody
Yeah.
and find out what's going on, so none of the information leaves.
Yeah. Maybe if they haven't discovered the spear yet, they can have someone come running back from outside of town and say that other people who have left before them, their carts are abandoned, there's no one at them, and there's just blood. And so if the party wants to go investigate some of these abandoned stuff, they'll find the spear along the way, and they'll take them down.
All right, so chapter 2 is going to be as
body count.
Right? As the party investigates, a flying head keeps eating people who try to leave the town. Right, cool. So, all right, so discovering what the monster is. Fab saw the head come out. Let's mention the spear. If the party does not approach Fab initially, then they will, this could be fun. They will confront BBEG about what happened in the launch. No, that'll be too early. Initially, then, if they don't approach Fab initially, then they will approach the party. About what? What's the information that they need to give the party? Something crazy, something delightful.
Yeah. If the party does not approach them, then they will initially when they approach the party, then so I don't think he's gonna know about the heads exactly as like, hey, this was bound to happen. They look like one of the elders. That the elders didn't get along with this person, or that they were clashing. So then that brings up motive. Maybe. Was that too much to give away?
I think that's a bit much for Act 1.
Oh, right, we're in Act 1.
There is, you know what it could be is that they just say, oh my God, it's coming back.
Yeah.
Like that could be the instant, like you have enough time to talk to BBEG and then Fab approaches and it's like, oh my God, it's coming. You know, so that the first act is, so you don't really have time to investigate anything in the first act. It's just setting up the whole thing and introducing you to the monster. And then, let me see. I'm going to say another very important person. Another important person is the leader of the elders, as apparently their head is now flying around. They'll approach the party and let them know that the monster is coming back. Discovering what the monster is. As the players fight the monster, they will see the scar on the face. Fab will say it's the face of the leader of the elders. Say it's the face of the leader of the elders. And that they recognize the scar on its face. This is the thing about mysteries. It's like other adventures, you don't have to have like insane amounts of detail. And with mysteries, like they're just these like, there's these lore dumps that you've
Yeah.
got to do.
Yeah.
It's on the players. They recognize the scar on its face from a childhood fire. Let's see. So now, if the players don't use fire against it, how do we let them know that it's vulnerable to fire?
I mean, we could have the I call back with Fab to explain that this person had a phobia of fire if it doesn't come up, if they don't witness it, if they don't use it. I mean, level 1 characters, they got a spell user at all, someone's going to cast Firebolt.
Yeah.
So, but if they don't, then they can mention that.
There is, could they just like wave a torch
Sure.
in this thing's face and have it sort of back off a little bit?
Yeah.
And then I think that would be a delightful scene if it's like you wave the torch in someone's face, and then see it's scared of fire, and then that's when the thing eats it. As soon as Fab turns their back, this thing just chomps down.
I told you. Yeah.
And it's like, and we can absolutely set it up so that like every half an hour the head comes back and eats someone.
Yeah.
If there's just ticking clock, absolutely. All right. Against it, then Fab will wave a torch in front of it, showing that it's scared of fire. I am gonna say, let's say that Fab is the target. So this thing is gonna continually go for Fab, but it'll leave as soon as Fab is dead.
Yeah.
So the players can like interpose themselves and things like that, but the head will just sort of knock them out of the way initially. It's not actively seeking to destroy them. The head's target is Fab. It will hurt the players but not eat them. It will only eat Fab, and only after, I'm going to say 3 rounds.
Yeah.
So there's enough time for the torch to happen if it needs to, for people to try fire. All right, so they know that it'll be vulnerable. So discovering what the monster is. They discover that it is immune to non-magical weapons, but it is vulnerable to fire, which will also allow them to set up like a whole, in Act 3, if they want to, they can set up a whole series of traps and stuff.
Yes. Yep.
So that fight can be super delightful. All right, cool. So I feel like that's a solid Act 1 for a murder mystery, for like an intense murder mystery where they show up, they're told there's a monster, people are screaming about murders, like that like something has eaten a whole bunch of people, and then they're suddenly confronted with this giant floating head, and they now have to deal with that. And once that's done, then we enter Chapter 2.
So there's one thing I like that I do in my games at this point, where it's I give the players a choice for NPCs. So it'd be like in this case, you can choose to get the help of either hunters or builders, and
Okay.
if they do the fight later, then they can have builders to help with traps or hunters to help pen it in. And this way they can choose the battleground or they can help set up traps.
Fabulous.
And for anyone who wants to replay it, there's replayability because they can choose different things. So
All right, so let's see. It keeps eating people who try to leave the town. The players may choose to convince one group to stay, and then that way the other group just gets killed as they keep trying to leave town.
Sure.
They convince one group to stay. They may have a group of craftsmen stick around, or a group of hunters. If the craftsmen stay, they will help create traps for the final battle. If the hunters stay, they will help to they'll help to flank it throughout the battle. So it'll constantly
they can also get updates on like where they're sighted.
Nice.
Which
they will help to flank the enemies and keep track of them in the town. Okay, cool. All right, so that's delightful. That's going to be super fun.
Yeah.
And then now we are going to. So they're investigating the flying heads. So much stuff. So they're investigating the flying heads. They finished. So let's go through this. In Act 1, they appear. They are told that there's a monster. And the monster appears, and they battle the monster. They discover that this monster looks like the Elder and is scared of fire, and then it murders Fab. In Chapter 2, then, this is the investigation. All right, so we're gonna do investigation, and this is gonna be tab. We're just gonna tab all of these over so that it's under that. Oops, that's not right. And
crime scene, murder weapon, bloody clothes.
Yes, so we've got that. All right, so at the crime scene in the Longhouse, the heads of all the elders have been removed. We can do what would that be? Would that be a religion check, an arcana check to see, to an insight check to sort of discover that they had not been removed from. So first, how were they murdered? If they were murdered with a spear,
we can say the spear was like a ceremonial item or something that was in the Longhouse to begin with.
Oh, sure. There's what I'm thinking is, so they did not, in the investigation phase of it, what it would mean is that they were not decapitated by the spear. They were killed in some other way by a spear, but their heads are gone. So how did the heads come off? Is that so? All right, so we
I
can
forgot about that.
Medicine check to see that the elders were killed with a spear. Let's do Arcana check, I think. Arcana check to see that the heads, let's say that the necks are still intact and something supernatural happened to the heads. Yes. All right, cool. And we are definitely at like the 2-hour mark now. So let us do a little bio break. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. Thank you all for participating in this fabulousness today. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. And in the meantime, go check out all of the fabulous stuff on the About page that we have got going. All kinds of cool stuff down there. And if you'd like to donate to the Foundation for Inclusivity in Gaming, I just threw that into chat. So feel free to do that, and we'll be back in just a sec. Hello again, everybody! I hope that you are all still having a glorious Friday. Welcome back to our fabulous, magnificent Mythologies stream, where today we are talking about the flying head monsters of the Iroquois tradition. So, we've discovered a lot about these things. Super delightful. We have now turned this into a murder mystery. Can I just say that I am always so excited when, like, because I always have sort of an image of what it's going to be when we start, and I am always wrong. So I am 100% here for this. And this is our first attempt at a murder mystery. So I think we're doing pretty good so far. I am... Oh. Sorry, I just disappeared there for a sec. Just went away. I just blue screened for a minute, apparently. All right, so let's go through so far. So they arrive. They are approached immediately.
Do a ritual and help people. Hey, we're gonna bring rain. This is gonna be this is a milk run.
Yeah, it's fine. No worries. And they come in, everyone is screaming, running around. Apparently there has been a monster attack just a couple minutes before. This person comes up to them, lets them know that there's a monster and that they need to, like, the priorities have shifted. And then another person comes up to them and lets them know that the monster looks like the head of one of the elders. And then suddenly there's a monster attack as this thing comes back. Let's see. So, all right. Also mentions the spear.
I'm thinking maybe it should be an axe.
An axe?
Yeah, if it's an axe, it makes the decapitation part pretty straightforward. And considering they're in the woods, I mean, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, the thing is that you can absolutely keep the decapitation as an arcana thing. Yeah. Instead of, like, that'll add, like, you know, if they don't want to investigate, like if they don't do a medicine check or anything, all they see is just a bloody mess. But if they investigate, they see that, like, there's no wound on the neck. So why are the heads running around? And then that leads to, oh, this is the spear, you know. But we could also have, like, they all get decapitated. So either way, which way do you want to go with that?
I like the spear because spears are cool, but the legend says that it's the elders do get decapitated. So
okay, all right.
Yeah. So if we're gonna keep it, if we're gonna stick to that, the axe makes sense. See. Unless this guy is meticulously just sawn through the spear.
I love it. Defeat the flying monster. I just want to make sure that there is nothing about spears in Act 1. Mentions the
I'll get it
axe.
Nope, I can't add it.
Mentions that the axe sticking the axe caught in the hair, in the long hair of the beast. All right, so it's an axe. They will approach the party and let them know that the monster is coming back. Fab will wave a torch. All right, flying head keeps eating people. Investigation. Medicine check to see that the elders were killed with an axe. And then they can do an arcana check. An arcana check. Do they need an arcana check at that point? I don't think they do.
No.
All right, so a medicine check to see if the elders were killed with an axe. They could do an investigation check to see that the giant heads came from inside the longhouse. So that as they left, so they see, let's see, back doors of the longhouse are
These are like
broken.
9 feet in diameter.
9 feet inside. Right. From the inside, there is a hole about 9 feet in diameter. Fabulous.
And the
All
heads
right,
are missing. So
Yeah.
Yep.
The axe. So the heads are missing. Let's see. So the heads fall over most. Yep. So that's all covered. Fabulous. Location of the murder weapon, outskirts of town. The axe has, we're not going to say teeth marks on it. The axe, has a monster hair wrapped around it. We could absolutely make this like a cool magical weapon then.
Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah,
You know.
that's a great idea. Yeah.
The axe has a monster hair wrapped around it. What would that do? What would a creature like this give? What power would they give to an axe? I feel like something having to do with wisdom. Like you have to,
Yeah, survival bonuses for sure. I think something like that, but
Yeah.
also tracking. I think because these things hunt people.
yeah, confers survival bonuses, and so survival bonuses.
Maybe there's like a druid or ranger spell, a low level one you could do.
So what I'd like actually is anyone who wields anyone who is older than the wielder
Cool.
automatically has sanctuary cast on them. So that the wielder must make like a wisdom saving throw to attack anyone older.
Oh wow, I like it.
Anyone who is older than the wielder automatically has protection from this axe. The wielder must make a wisdom save as per the sanctuary spell to attack anyone older. I love it.
It's great if you're an elf.
Right? All right, so let's see. So the axe has blood on it. We've got the location of the bloody clothes, the shed between the longhouse and the BBG house. The BBG's house is ransacked. Fab dies in the first act, so they will not be available in the second act to, in fact, help out.
It can be the leader of the NPC group they ask to help. So maybe like one of their head craftsmen who spotted it, or one of the hunters.
So leader of the craftsmen or the hunters will help put the clues together. All right, so the clues that we have are the crime scene, the weapon, the clothes, and the BBG's house.
Yeah.
There's I feel like that's enough. And what I'm going to say is that once they have, as long as they find 2 of those things, because I think any 2 of those things with the right sort of combination of magic and whatever else will be able to give them what they need.
Yeah.
So the axe, so they know that the axe, let's see, what I'll say, the axe has blood on it, and DM's note, the axe has the family insignia of the BBEG. All right, so there's that. So you've got that. Location of the bloody clothes. The leader of the craftsman has to help put the clues together. They know the family insignia. They know that the BBEG was the only one in the room with the elders. They know that the BBEG changed clothes. All right, I think that is so. Then there will need to be the confrontation, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So we've got investigation, then confrontation. The players present the clues and discover that the BBEG is the murderer. And let's see, I'm going to, because we are running a little short on time, what I'm going to say is here is going to be a, God, what do you call those things where you've got a speech for the DM to give, where you actually write that portion out?
A monologue?
Yeah, there is, but oh my God, what is it? It is for the DM to read, and then we'll write the confession later. So we know that there will be a fabulous confession from this guy explaining the essentially the story.
Yeah.
So it'll be the elders thought the drought was a test and wanted to stay. The youth of the village wanted to leave. The BBEG was the representative and killed the elders. The flying heads were created in that moment of betrayal. All right, cool. We've got that. And so chapter 3 then becomes, instead of fighting 1 big bad, now you've got 4 big bads.
Yep.
So we've got the set up the final fight. You know, there are 4 of them. I think what we can do in this situation, because if they're lower level, having 4 enemies is going to be a bit much. I think if they can defeat 1 of them, then the others will run away.
Also, the NPCs that they conscripted can also kill 1. So if the craftsman can set a trap, like a fire thing, and it can immediately kill one, or the hunters can close in with fire arrows and kill one.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. There
Maybe
are
if they just
4
kill the
of
main
them.
one, it'll end.
Yeah. Okay. So there will be. What we could do is that the craftsmen or the hunters, either one, depending on how they set things up, you can have them at least distract the other heads.
Sure.
So that you're only facing the main one.
Yep.
There are 4 of them. The NPC helpers, craftsmen will.
These things are super formidable. So
They're what?
They're really formidable. So yeah, definitely.
Oh, they absolutely.
Yeah.
The NPC helpers will distract 3 heads. Hunters with weapons, craftsmen with traps, craftsmen. Let's see. There's okay, so we have got now that's what it is, Alakazam. It's descriptive text, yes.
Right.
Thank you for that. The descriptive text Oversoul will be a monologue. Not necessarily a soliloquy is a type of monologue that is specifically targeted at the audience. So a soliloquy breaks the fourth wall, whereas a monologue doesn't necessarily. So all soliloquies are in fact monologues, but not all monologues are soliloquies. There's absolutely. So there's, all right, NPC helper will distract 3 heads. I think that'll be good for the setup for the final fight. Then the head returns to take revenge on the BBEG. I think now you have a couple choices. One, if they just feed the BBEG to the head, it's done.
With that,
head will just leave. If the players feed the BBEG to the head, the head will leave. Very simple solution there, you know. And I feel like, honestly, that one in this tale, that's the perfect ending.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like, that's the one. Like, the NPCs are gonna feel like they need to protect the town, but if you really look at what just happened, this is absolutely, like, it could. I feel like if they, so let's put it in resolutions. If the BBEG is fed to the monster, the other heads will leave, and the drought will be.
I think the drought should remain.
End. Oh, will it? It will. Okay.
Because I think that still, even though this guy is a bad guy, it's extraneous to the environmental situation, and this guy might have actually been right.
Right? He just did it in the really, really wrong way. There's okay, so if the BB just for the must, the other heads will leave and will never return. If this is the perfect ending, I always like to have an extra reward though.
Oh yeah.
For them. So they already have the axe. what is the extra reward?
Me being a crazy person as a DM,
Yes.
I would like to, if for someone who's wielding the axe, if once in a while the head comes in to help on something and just grabs an enemy out of it and then just takes back into the sky.
Oh my god!
And just
All
a
right, we'll
random
never return. If let's see, also will empower the axe.
Randomly, not even summon.
I'm gonna-
just kind of.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I wanted to do two things for the axe. First, make it a dancing axe.
Oh, cool.
So that it is, because the heads float, so the axe, because there's a hair in it, the axe floats.
Beautiful.
We'll empower the axe to be a dancing axe. Will also, what would that be? Like on a, like I feel like that's a percentile dice.
Yeah.
Or do you want it to make it a crit?
So the way I would do it, because I wouldn't want it to happen too often. It would be, for every crit, maybe on, maybe
Like
on a D4 or
every
something
crit.
like that.
Well, why don't we do on a
D10?
crit you roll a percentile dice,
Yeah.
and there's a 10% chance that on a
10%.
crit this thing will pop in. So what that gives you is, it gives you a 1 in 200 chance.
Perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah. We'll also enchant the axe in the following way.
I just want to see it show up
on-
and fight something that is stronger than it.
Right, and just swallow it. just fucking eat it. There's, on a crit, roll a percentile dice. There is a 10% chance that this head will appear and eat one large or smaller monster that is an enemy of the wielder. I like it. That is a crazy and random ass power. Like, that's delightful. You get a dancing axe, which is already pretty freaking powerful, right? There is sometimes a head just appears and eats your enemies. Perfect. All right, let's see. So, all right, so the head returns to take revenge on the BBG. If the players feed the BBG to the head will leave. What I'd like to do with the fire thing is that it is vulnerable to fire, and anytime it takes fire damage, it loses its immunity to weapons.
Sure.
For that round.
Yeah.
So let's say any round in which any time the head takes fire damage, it loses its immunity to
weapons.
That is not the right it's, and that's a pet peeve of mine when people do not use the right words. It loses its immunity to non-magical weapons
Until its next turn.
Until the beginning of its next turn. All right, cool. So we've got that. There is. All right, and then once the head is defeated, the other heads will leave the town. But if they do, then the act remains just its sort of basic, you know.
Yeah.
What did we say? It was it gets survival bonuses. Okay. And you can't attack old people with it.
Yeah.
So that's delightful. All right, so map. So I'm going to just add this in with the map. So we need the longhouse, BBEG house, shed, and outskirts where the axe fell. All right. I think that's everything we're going to need on the map there. All right, then let's see. Let me look. All right, and I think, all right, so the others will leave town. And I think that's it for chapter 3.
Yeah.
I think chapter 3 can just be the fight, setting up the final fight. Okay, wait, so setting up the final fight, you know there are 4 of them. There are 4 flying heads. Let's see. You will have time to set up, let's say, this is the way we can do it. You'll have time to set up 1 trap for each clue that you found.
There you go.
Fabulous. So that sets up the thing. It gives you a reason to actually search everything out. And all right, so let's go over this. So we've got, you show up in town, you think that you're here to help. Turns out there's a monster running around. This guy tells you this monster just killed a whole bunch of people and you need to do something about it. Before you can start investigating, you get attacked by the monster. Monster eats the guy that lets you know that this looks like one of the elders, and sets up Act 2 for the investigation. In Act 2, the whole thing is you investigating different things. I feel like there needs to be an option where you didn't find out what happened if the players just don't investigate. You know, if they're like, oh, we've got to set, like, if they immediately go to like setting up traps and stuff like that.
Sure.
There is, all right.
So would this be considered the bad ending?
Yeah. So if the players don't find out about the BBEG, then the BBEG will take over the planning for the attack and completely screw it up. So you don't get any traps.
Yeah.
Anything like that.
You don't find the axe.
Yeah.
You don't get any of the good stuff.
Don't get the axe. And you can't set up traps for the final fight.
And in resolution, and if they kill the main head, the other heads scatter, but throughout the rest of their journeys, they may be stalked by the individual hits.
Yeah, it's defeated. They will leave town. If I'm gonna say, let's see. So the final fight, there are 4 flying heads. NPC helpers will distract these 3 heads. If the BBEG is not found out, the players will face all 4 heads. So it could absolutely be a TPK. If the players don't bother to investigate anything, if they just take the word of this BBEG, then they could all just be eaten. Just eaten by these giant heads. And that's it. And let's see. Yeah, so I'm looking back on the individual weaknesses. I think that's a bit much for a one-shot. So I think just fire for everyone.
Yeah.
It's just. So speaking of that, why don't we do this? I am going to go over to D&D Beyond, who is one of our sponsors and who we love very much. And I'm going to just pick a whatever is. So I'm just. Aarakocra is the first thing that pops up. So I am just going to take, I'm going to pop this up and we're going to essentially just get the information down for what we need to do a stat block. Yay! We're doing a new Monstra just for y'all. And let's see, so this is going to be resolutions, rewards, and then we're going to do flying head stat block. All right, so first thing is the name. And so this is, all right, I'm going to go to our Discord.
We can just call it flying head. It's just easier.
Get this thing. Where is over there? I want to use the actual term, if we can.
Right. I'm gonna put it in the Discord chat, not Discord, the Twitch chat, so people also see it.
So this is the name that we are trying.
This is the name right there. It's Ganon Sistantes.
Yeah. And let's see. So name. Well, because Discord does everything in like grays. So there we go.
Right.
And we'll make that an 11. There we go.
So are we thinking undead?
Yeah, I think it's gonna have to be undead. I think that this is gonna be, it's gonna need to be an undead. And so this is a large, I'm gonna say this is a large undead.
Yeah.
And large undead. I am not going to give it an alignment because I don't think that one should. Right. I really do not like that aspect of it. I'm glad that WotC is thinking about getting rid of that. All right, so AC, hit point, speed, and initiative. Let's see. So we've got AC. I think that their AC should be pretty high.
Yeah. Like the defining part of the legend is that they are immune to weapons.
Yeah.
They use their hair to conceal them. Their skin is just really tough.
I feel like one of their abilities should be, they can use their hair as a reaction to reflect a ranged attack, like a monk.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
If they can take it and they can send it back. I think that would be fabulous. All right, let's say, all right, so if this is going to be something for like 3rd to 5th level, in order for them to even hit it, it still can't have insane AC. So let's call it 18, I feel like, is high enough that it will be a real challenge for them to actually strike it.
Yeah.
But they'll be able to do it eventually.
With buffs and inspiration, you're gonna need them all.
Yeah, this is not gonna be an easy fight for you.
Yeah.
All right, hit points and speed. So we're gonna do AC, HP. Where do we think this lies for hit points? Because I'm feeling it should be over 100.
Yeah, they're tanky. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's like their whole thing. They just eat. They should just be like con through the roof. But they're undead. So
yeah. Let's say I'm going to start it at 100. And then we can give it a con bonus when we get its stats down. So speed.
So it would just be flight speed.
Speed is. I think they should be pretty quick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say at that level, let's say 80 feet.
Yeah.
No, that's a bit much. For a first level, for like third to
60?
fifth level, yeah, 60. Let's do 60. So it's twice theirs. So they would have to use their action in order just to keep up with this thing. You know, if they were chasing it, they'd have to like run very, very fast. So speed, 60 feet, flying, and then initiative is going to be based on their dex. So let's then look at their stats. All right, so strength. I feel like strength should be really high.
Just jaw
on these
strength.
guys.
So yeah.
So let's put strength at, let's say 17. Then dex, I'm going to say, is not super amazing.
Right.
Because they're just a flying head. So there's a lot of places
it's not really
to
gonna
hit them.
dodge you.
So let's say dex is 12. Dex is 12. Constitution is really high. Let's put Constitution at 16. They can survive almost anything. And so with a 16 with the plus 3s, let's give them an extra 15 hit points. So they're at 115 hit points. Then intelligence. I feel like they're intelligent enough to identify their targets. So that would mean more than animal intelligence.
So bigger than a 3, but they're not like...
They're not having full conversations with people. So
6?
Let's do
maybe
7.
Even, yeah, okay.
Let's do 7. There is... and then wisdom. I feel like wisdom's going to be super high too. Like I don't want them to be able to be charmed, you know.
Oh
like,
yeah. I mean,
they're
they're basically based on wisdom, like with their story.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to max that out at 18. I'm going to give them 18 wisdom. And
considering these guys
charisma.
are super unique, it's okay to make them a little broken.
Yeah. And charisma, I'm going to put at 3 because there's just...
Oh, there's nothing attractive about these fellas at all.
Yeah. So with initiative, they're going to get a +1. All right, so because they're dex. All right, cool. So now let's look at their skills. All right, so I think survival skills, survival is going to be survival is an intelligence skill, right? Or is it wisdom?
Might be wisdom.
What is survival? I know that. Now I feel gross, but I'm not sure about that. There's like, I'm a bad DM because I can't remember. All right, let's look up survival. Not survival. There's an R in there. Survival skills. Let's see. Why can't D&D Beyond? Don't fail me. Don't fail me in the middle of the stream, please. Please don't do that to me. It's wisdom. Thank you. It's wisdom. So cool. All right. So survival. They already have a +4. Let's give them a +7.
Sure.
+7 to survival, so they can track their targets. And I feel like I'd also like to give them both
Stealth and intimidation.
stealth. I don't feel like they need stealth. I think that stealth and intimidation are like sort of diametrically opposed
Sure.
on the skill thing. So I think intimidation, but also perception. Because again, they're hunters.
Yep.
So perception, let's give them a +7. And intimidation is a charisma thing. But we will give them let's give them a +3 on that.
Sure.
+3. All right, cool. So that's their skills. Delightful. We've got skills now. Their senses. All right, so senses. They've I'm gonna say dark vision because they're undead.
Because we're undead.
Dark vision, I'm gonna say 120 feet so they can track their foes. Dark vision, 120 feet. I think they should also have blind sight. Like nothing's gonna stop them.
Okay.
From getting.
I mean, they're ahead. It's nothing but sensory organs.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah. Right. All right. So we've got blind sight, and let's give that 30 feet. So they might have to search a while if you're hiding from them, but eventually they will find you. Like this. All right. Let's see. Then. And passive perception is going to be through the roof. Blind sight and passive perception is going to be, what is that? So that's +4. I'm going to say they have proficiency in this. So passive perception is going to be like 18. So yeah, that's going to be delightful. So for like people who are level 3 to 5, if there's like a rogue trying to hide from them or something like that, they're just not going to be able to most of the time.
It's tough. It's going to be tough.
Sorry, rogues.
It happens. Good job. If it doesn't, you appear to be hidden.
I'm going to say languages. All that they knew in life.
Yep.
And what's next? Let's see. So their proficiency bonus, I think we should give them a +3 in proficiency.
Yeah, for that level, yeah. That's fine.
So proficiency bonus +3. And what is their CR rating, do you think? If you're going after them with a party with no magical weapons, and the party is up to level 5, then they should be a CR 5. But if you're also getting the help of the hunters and everything else, then you can pump the CR up on that.
Yeah, I mean, we could call it 6 because they have the immunities. They're gonna have like a devour attack.
I think 7. I think this
7?
thing is powerful enough that it might be a CR 7. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So next we have got our special attacks. So
definitely big on the bite, the devour.
Special actions.
And then
so special actions.
Defense.
Devour. Let me see. I know that there are things in there that have devour already.
Like the T-Rex.
So let me see. Yeah, I think. All right, let's look at monsters. We're gonna look at some monsters, and we're gonna look. You said T-Rex?
I think it used to.
And that's a beast. So we're gonna look for Tyrannosaurus. And let's see, Tyrannosaurus Rex. Do you have a devour attack?
No, I just got a
bite tail. No, you're a liar.
Yeah. Let's see. It says it in the description. It chases anything and a few creatures it won't try to devour whole.
Old Croaker I know does. It's Swallow. It's called Swallow.
There you go.
Okay. All right. So.
The Remora is giant ice toad too.
And
one bite attack against a medium or smaller creature it is grappling. If the attack hits, the creature takes the bite damage and is swallowed, and the grapple ends. While swallowed, the creature is blinded and restrained.
Yeah, I think Old Croaker is good. That it's 3d6 acid damage a round, which for somebody at that level,
pretty lethal.
Yeah. So there is. All right, I'm just going to pop this wholesale in there, and I'm just going to call it Swallow. Swallow. There we go. And to everybody who's watching out there, remember that there are already a whole lot of things that are already there, and you don't necessarily need to reinvent the wheel every single time. If there's a fabulous attack that you want to use or something like that, and there's already a mechanic for it, take it. It's totally fine. Totally fine. Makes one bite attack against I'm going to say a large or smaller creature.
Yeah.
Large or smaller target. It is grappling. Nope. Just large, smaller target. This thing just makes the bite attack. And if it hits, then the target is swallowed. Like that's, I think that's what makes it so dangerous, is that it'll just come by and just swallow. Like there's not an initial attack and then a secondary attack. Like that swallows you. It just literally swallows you.
Yeah.
Each of the heads turns effects outside the head. Let's see. And I don't think. How do you escape?
With the Remoras, you can deal damage to the inside. With the Remoras, it was if you dealt 30 damage internally, you could escape. I think for this, you could make it less, but it would still need to be magical.
Yeah. So let's say it's you have to do 20 damage.
Sure.
Doing 20 damage to the inside of the head will force the head to spit you out. All right, fabulous. So that's a special action.
And you're looking at falling damage.
Ooh, yeah, absolutely.
Just drop like 40 feet in the air.
Let me see. So this is actually, that's not actually going to be a special action. That's going to be just an action. So actions are swallow. And I think we should use the hair as sort of like tentacles, so that they can do a hair attack. So let me see. The swallow. Let's make that a massive attack, because that's such a scary attack. Let's make it rechargeable.
Yeah.
So it recharges on a 6 on a d6.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Recharges on a 6 on a d6.
So I guess if it wanted to, if it's already eaten someone, you can just headbutt people.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's do action. So headbutt, and that is going to be. Let me see. I'm going to grab this language and just pop it in here so that it is standardized. So that would be a melee weapon attack with a strength of 17. That's a +3 plus your proficiency. That's a +6.
Yep.
So it would be a +6 to hit 5-foot range, 1 target. And on a hit, I would like to do at that level. I feel like 1d10 + 3. I feel like would be legit.
1d10 + 3. Yeah, that works.
Hit, so
Good
that
for
would
just
be
a headbutt. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
you
that
can't
would be
hurt
a
it.
total
It's,
of
it's like a slam attack.
Yeah. So that's hit 7, 1d10 + 3 bludgeoning damage. Let me see. I'm gonna say actions. It gets I'm gonna say it's got multi-attack. Can attack with, let's see, attacks twice each turn, or attacks once with swallow. Uses headbutt and hair whip. Uses headbutt and hair whip. All right, fabulous. So we've got headbutt and hair whip. So next we have got headbutt, and then we've got hair whip, and that is a melee weapon attack that is going to be again a +6 to hit. I'm gonna say reach on that is 20 feet.
The hair, yeah,
that
works.
1 target, and that should be. I feel like that should be a little worse. Oh, bludgeoning damage and DC. Let's say a DC 15 strength save or be knocked prone on the headbutt.
Oh yeah.
And
almost like an like a bull rush.
Yeah. And then target, and I want this to do a little more damage than that. So let's do 2d8.
2d8
+3. So that would be, average would be 8, 11. So it'll be 11. And that'll be 2d8 +3 slashing damage. All right, cool. So those are the actions, and then reaction is going to be what's the monk thing called? It's not, is it return arrow? It's you have to spend a key point.
Arrow.
Yeah, deflect arrows.
Deflect arrows, right? Snatch is the
deflect arrows. Deflect arrows. As a reaction, the flying head may catch one projectile each round with its hair and return and fire it back at the originator, doing exactly the same damage. All right, fabulous. And let me see. So other things. Oh, that was it. So senses, what we need. So skills, and then immunities. Well, first would be vulnerabilities.
Yep. So fire.
Vulnerabilities, fire, and immunities. Immunities, non-magical weapons, being hit with fire negates this until the beginning of its next turn. All right, fabulous. So, all right, so being hit with fire negates this until the beginning of its next turn. And
I kind of want to add if it takes 30 or some odd amount of fire damage, it loses the ability to catch with the hair.
Oh,
If
yes.
it's been on fire.
All right, so that will be deflect arrows. All right, doing exactly the same damage. If the flying head takes more, so let's say 1/3 of its hit points, so that would be 33, so that's 30, so let's say 40.
Sure.
If the flying head takes more than 40 damage, 40 fire damage, it loses this reaction as its hair is burned away. And I am going to put that on the hair whip as well.
Ooh, Ray Party.
See?
All together
But
RPG.
at the did we just we keep going super long. Hi, Roll Together. Welcome. We are just finishing up our Magnificent Mythologies stream. Today we are talking about, will you give the pronunciation, please?
Sure, it's called the Ganoncistontes. These are
Yes.
giant flying heads that eat people.
Yeah, absolutely. We have turned it into a murder mystery, where there's all kinds of fun, fabulous, like turns and shifts in the dynamics. So that's delightful. Well, welcome, Pixie. That's right, you enter that raffle. Everybody who just showed up, you can win fabulous dice in just a few minutes as we are finishing up here soon. If you hit !Raffle, you can get some fabulous Phoenix dice. Phoenix dice is delightful. They make all of their dice from recycled materials because they love the world we live in just as much as the worlds we play in. That's right. So, thank you for chatting for the first time, Beefy Drake. You're delightful. And hello, Roll Together. You're awesome. Thank you. I think I might just put this in the schedule that we're always going to go at least half an hour over. I think I was lying to myself when I thought this was just going to be a 3-hour stream.
Keep getting close. We're almost there.
Right, we're almost there. Neo Soul God and I went.
That one,
we did
that was pretty
4.5 hours. Yeah. So right now, so we have finished the actual adventure, which is all about trying to help these people. Turns out that somebody murdered all of the elders, and you got to figure out who, what's going on, and why this monster has appeared, and then how to defeat the monster. So it is a fabulous 3-act structure story that is based on Iroquois legend. And there's a new fabulous magical item that we're creating. We are currently finishing out the stat block for the actual flying head. And just so you know, this is all for the Foundation for Inclusivity in Gaming. And what we will do when we get done with this is we are going to bring in an artist to actually create fabulous cover art and a couple of things inside, including an image of this monster probably, and the axe, and a map.
The map.
Like, so we've got all kinds of fabulous stuff going. Then we send it off to our publisher, and they are going to lay it out for us and include all the legalese necessary. And then we are going to hand it right back to Matt here from Dungeon Glitch, and it becomes 100% his property, so that he can do whatever with it that he wants. But it also means he's going to be a published author as soon as this comes out. So very excited about that. Now we have got, let's see. Is there anything else that we need to add?
I do want to say thank you for all of this, because not only is everything that you just mentioned fantastic, we have created a stat block and legend around something that I've enjoyed since I was a kid. And it's I can't wait to go call my brother right after this and be like, hey, I need you to get some time to go make sure you watch this video, because we're going to be talking about the giant head, and because we've been using it as a prop and a fun joke and a story and everything for like the past 30 years. So yeah,
I love it. Oh my God, that's so fabulous. All right, so now the last thing that we are going to need here is we are going to need story, and that is going to be if you will send me the just the Iroquois story, that's what we'll include. We'll include sort of a truncated version of that in there. So
yeah.
There's
so
fabulous, yeah.
I can also come up with a sterilized version, so anyone can use it if they're just picking up the monster. So they'll have the lore just in general of, hey, fabulous. This comes from this. So yeah,
absolutely,
plug and play.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, and the thing that I will, the little bit of pushback that I will give you on that is, again, I like a non-sterilized version.
Yeah,
I like a version where we're not scared that somebody might be offended. This is the actual story. This is, and it's one of the biggest issues with colonization is that colonizers will sterilize everything.
Yeah.
They're sterilizing so that people do not get uncomfortable. And it's one of the biggest issues with entertainment in our society right now, is that people are terrified that somebody might get offended, somebody might get a little anxiety, something like that. And the thing is that as long as you have your warnings up about what's going on, as long as there are trigger warnings, like, I'm not going to rob the world of fabulous horror because somebody might get a little scared. Like, that's the thing. There is, and I think that it's very, very different than doing something like, showing or, like hyping, like sexual assault or violence against children or, something like that. Like, that's a vastly different issue than, is somebody going to be made uncomfortable by this story that is from a different culture? The whole point of this stream is to introduce people to concepts from a different culture. And like, we don't even know, like in European culture, we don't even know our own culture. Disney has co-opted this. I'm like, I just look back at, like, one of my favorite stories growing up was The Little Mermaid, because it is a story of, adolescent angst and then sudden like pain and survival, and then true understanding of how much you didn't know. And at the end, she dies. Like, this is not, Disney took this whole thing where it's just like suddenly everything's fine. Now, mind you, I will sing Poor Unfortunate Souls like a fucking diva any chance I can, because it's still a great movie, but it's a very sterilized version of a fabulous story that we've been telling for a really long time, that really has some object lessons in it about, hey, don't think you know everything, because you don't. And people are going to take advantage of you if you pretend like you know everything and you're not willing to acknowledge that you might be wrong. Like the sea witch will absolutely take advantage of the fact that you think you know. You don't. You know, that there's and the understanding that none of us do. None of us know everything. You know, people with experience have some extra knowledge. And that's one of the points of this whole story that we've created today, is that experience should be celebrated. That people who have made it to grand old ages most of the time did not get there because of dumb luck. Like there's a reason they have survived to that age, you know? So celebrate your elders, celebrate the people around you that can actually teach you, and take the lessons that they offer if they're given in good faith. I have, coming from somebody who has a narcissistic, horrific mother, like don't take every lesson on that face value. But yeah, I think that it is really important that we honor the spirit of the stories the same way we did, I feel like, with Barong and Rongda.
Yeah.
These are not easy things to deal with either. There is, but I think if you do honor to them, and that means not sterilizing them.
Got it.
That means making sure that we are presenting something real and honest. So yes, thank you for that. I think that this is going to be fabulous. I think this is a great, murder mystery delightfulness. So, all right, with that, why don't you tell the fine people out there where they can find you everywhere?
Yeah, so I'm at Dungeon Glitch on the online. So if you need me, I'm on Twitter, mostly. You can pretty much find me on any social media. I'm just a little slower to react on the ones that I don't really use. Yeah, I'm the owner of Jumped Firefly. We make goofy shirts like this.
Yay!
And we're also making the merch for Fig, which is a lot of fun. I gotta get one of those mugs because the mugs are dope. So.
Oh my god, I do too. I need a mug.
Like the mugs.
I need a mug. Are they really?
Yeah, they're really good. They're super sturdy and they're really tough. Mugs are great.
Gonna need to get one. That's gonna need to be my teacup, my tea mug on stream. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll get you one. I'll send you one.
Oh, yay! I got merch. There's fabulous, and thank you everyone for showing up. Thank you for being here, and thank you for helping support our community, not only Fig itself, but all of the people that Fig is trying to help right now. All of the mission of Fig is to help keep the voices of streamers of color and Alphabet Mafia streamers here in this space, because that is the way you decolonize a space, is you bring people in who have a voice and you never say, don't say that thing. Say the thing that you need to say. Say the thing. Even if it makes some people uncomfortable, that's okay. We'll be here for
run
you.
this. I want the axe in my game so that someone can randomly have it, and it's like Final Fantasy, like Odin just shows up.
Well, one of the things that I'm thinking about doing is once we actually get some of these finalized games, we do a fundraiser once a month. I am thinking about doing every month, we'll just play through all the adventures that were created the previous month. I think that will be glorious. Yes, so thank you everyone for being here, and let's go find someone fabulous to raid. Who do you think right now? There's a couple. Oh, the Raffle. I am a monster. I am a terrible, terrible person. Hey everybody, hit !Raffle and you will be entered to win a set of Phoenix dice. I'm going to give everybody just a couple, just a little tiny bit there to do that. And in the meantime, I will say again, thank you, everybody. Here at Playnerd Allies, we have a bunch of streams that we're doing. We've got our magnificent Mythologies, which you are watching right this very moment. On Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific, and 9 p.m. GMT, we are doing our Hunter's Harvest, which is a fabulous and absolutely chaotic romp through the multiverse, searching for things called planar touchstones to keep them out of the hands of the gruesome and evil set of villains that have popped up, trying to gain access to them. On Wednesdays at 11 o'clock Eastern Time in the morning, we do our Delver's Dream campaign, which is a sister campaign to the Hunter's Harvest. These kids, though, are attempting to unite an entire continent against a Lich Queen who is trying to destroy the world. That's right. We love it. So, thank you again. And I think it's time to draw a winner. Hey, Lando, who's going to get some fabulous dice? Who is it going to be? Who's it going to be? Dark Happiness 112, yay! You get fabulous, fabulous dice from Phoenix Dice. If you send me a whisper, or if you send me a thing on Discord, I will hook you up with Phoenix Dice. And you will get them in the mail in a couple of weeks, and it'll be just glorious. And thank you again, everyone, for being here, and we will see you soon. Let's see who we're going to raid, though. I am looking at a couple of people. I wonder who it's going to be. I think we will go raid our friend and stream team companion, Sensei Suplex. Let's go watch them play some D&D. Yay! And I can't. Everybody have an amazing, amazing weekend, and I will see you in March. Yay! Bye now.